On our last episode, you may remember we were looking at our Highland cattle and our Highland Experience Weekend we're having at the Cotswold Farm Park and how I was training last year's calves. Well, we're also having an Equine Weekend. And recently we sent our EXMOOR foals from last year away for a bit of training because they're going to be part of our Equine Weekend. And I've come up to see the EXMOORs. So these are our lovely EXMOORs, and of course they're the most ancient indigenous British breed, really tough, hardy animals that live on Exmoor all year round. And we've had a herd here on the farm for as long as I can remember. And we run them a bit like a herd might on Exmoor, so they're not particularly tame, although some of them will come for a few nuts. Hello, you're particularly friendly, aren't you? Hello, this is the stallion. He's Willow Warbler, his name is. Classic looking Exmoor. And they're tough. They've got very thick skin. They've got amazing manes, a wonderful coat on their body with like a double hair, a guard hair, so the rain and snow will run off. But also they've got this mane that will cover their necks and their forehead, and then short ears. They've got little ears, and of course, your ears, your extremities, is where you lose heat. And so with little ears, you don't lose too much heat. There's a good girl. Yeah, you like your food, don't you? One of the things with the Exmoor is their temperament. They're a strong and quite feisty animal. And of course, they've got to be able to survive out on Exmoor. And we don't handle ours a lot, so they're a little bit wild. People have got Exmoors and using them for carriage driving. They're a very good pony for pony riding. And, you know, they'll actually carry a fully grown adult all day long if they need to. They're strong, but they can be a bit of a handful. And so with ours, we let the mares give birth out here on display at the Cotswold Farm Park. And then when we wean them, we take them away from their mothers so they don't need the milk anymore. We then need to start to handle them. And that's usually the first time they've ever been touched. So they can be a little bit nuts. And that's where I've got the foals in the cattle shed at the moment, who have been away for a special bit of training. We'll pop down and see them. So the little Highlands here are doing really well. They're walking about on their halters much better now, aren't you? Eh? Lovely and friendly. And next door to the Highlands, we've got Rosie and Roxy, our little Exmoors. I'll just jump in with them. So they were foals that were born last year, May, June time last year. We've got Rosie and Roxy, and we weaned them off their mums and then sent them away to Cotswold Farm, which is over near Chipping Norton, where Ian and his colleagues there do this horse whispering. So they use a technique which is all about body language, being really gentle, nice and slow. And, you know, in the sort of Wild West, they'll lasso a horse and tie it to a post, and it's called horse breaking, and they'll try and break them. With this horse whispering technique, it's much more gentle and using kindness and careful body language with the horse to quieten them down. They've been away for about 3 or 4 weeks, and when I took them there, this animal would be climbing over the back fence trying to get away from me. Now, they've quietened them down, they've got head collars on them, and I can go up to them. With Exmoors, and any animal that's been brought up with very little handling, they've got this sort of fight or flight instinct. And these little Exmoors, Roxy and Rosie, tend not to fight. They don't really kick, they're quite kind, but they still have that flight. And occasionally, they'll just bolt to the back of the pen, particularly if you make sudden movements. James, good to see you. So how have the ponies been?
Oh yeah, they're definitely Exmoor ponies. They're, as a breed, they're usually the very sharpest ones you can get from the pony ones, because, you know, it's their survival. So when they come into a more enclosed area, they are pretty sharp and they will run.
So polite, isn't it, Jay? I mean, basically they're wild.
Yeah, they were pretty wild when they came. They're getting better now.
And how have you, talk me through the technique. What sort of things you've been doing with them?
Yeah, so kind of like an advanced retreat method. Your body language is very important. You can't have this kind of square on looking at them, I'm going to catch you, then they're going to run away. You know, so very softer eyes, looking down, more of a passive body language to kind of approach them. And initially we use longer sticks, so we're not actually that close to them, and they kind of get used to being touched rather than you kind of getting closer and closer and closer. And the closer you get, the more frightening they'll be, and the more they want to run away. And you know, in this situation, they might knock you over. Jake in himself, his demeanor is very much more relaxed, and that's why he's the main asset we got. This is our secret tool we got. You know, I have to think about how I do this, how I kind of react, and I have to train myself. Whereas with Jake, it comes much more natural to him.
But now they'll lie down and have their tummy tickles? Almost.
So we're going to try and load them up now. So Jake's going to actually load them together, because they have been loaded separately, one at a time. So Jake is actually going to pair them up together and lead them up together, which we've never done. So we'll see how it goes. Here we go. See, look at him looking at me. Very wary. We'll stay a little bit behind them. That's it, in they go. Nice and easy. I don't want to be too loud, that's it. In we go. That's it. Yeah. You right then, Jake? Yep. Okay, closing.
Oh, that's great. Thank
That's
you
it.
very much, Ian.
Yep. No worries. Same
good.
time next year then.
So we're now back at the farm, and I backed the trailer up and let the foals come into our pens where we've got the calves next door, and there they are. So what we'll do is carry on working with them and handling them as much as we can to keep them nice and quiet. Pick their feet up so they're ready for the farrier if you need to get their feet trimmed, and in a few years' time put them to the stallion and then be able to breed foals from them. It's really lovely. I'm delighted with the way the guys have got them in their first steps of being lovely and quiet and handleable. So it's now a few weeks on, and what we've got to do is keep that good work that they did at Cotswold Farm going, and spend time with them every day, coming in and just continuing the taming. What we want to be able to do is to be able to lead them around and then be able to lift their feet and really get them lovely and quiet for our equine experience, so that the guests we have at the Cotswold Farm Park can come and meet them and spend time with them. It's interesting that when I was over with Ian and his colleagues over there, they were giving me some tips about how to behave, and it's as much about the person as it is about the pony or the horse. It's a bit like training a dog. Often people who've got very naughty dogs, it's not necessarily the dog's fault, it's quite often the person's fault. And one of the things that Ian said to me, my habit is to pat a horse on its neck, but he said with these, a pat is something that's more aggressive and is a sudden movement. So he said stroking them like this is the way forward, and they quite like it. This one is much tamer than the other one. You can see she's still at the back of the pen there, not really wanting to come up to me. And if I put the bucket down, what I can do with this one, there we go, have a bit of apple. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? We've left the head collars on them and I can get hold of it. And you'll notice I'm keeping my eyes down, keeping my shoulder to the side, not going face on with my eyes open, staring at the horse, because that can be scary. So head down, just being nice and gentle, nice and quiet, no sudden movements. You like your apple, don't you? And then I can just lead her. Walk on. Just pressure on, pressure off. There we go. And she'll walk about. Pressure on, pressure off. There's a good girl. There's a good girl. Come on then. There's a good girl. There's a good girl. It's all about patience. You're very beautiful, aren't you? Aren't you? Yes. Ian did say to me they don't really need treats. So I'm probably breaking one of the rules by giving her some apple. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There's a good, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, as you can see, there's still quite a lot more work to be done, but we'll keep working with them. Come in here daily for maybe a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes a day, and hopefully we'll get them nice and quiet. So if you've enjoyed the video, then like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Let us know if you're going to come along to our Equine Weekend later in the year. Here's a good girl.